All right, what's up everybody? Welcome back to Make It Kustom. I'm Carl Fisher and back on the 1939 Lincoln Zephyr project. We got a ton of work to still do on this thing. We have one more panel. It may look like we're so close. We are not. We are so far because these panels are just roughed in. So what I'm gonna start off with today is making this panel, roughing it in, and then we are gonna go over what still needs a lot of refining, right? Like this car actually looks pretty good and stuff, but the refinement of these panels so that they actually fit well together and really flow, that is gonna test my patience and yours. So don't forget to like, click subscribe, hit notifications. Let's get into it. All right, so I do want to really get started on this. This last sail panel will be monumental in getting the full view of what the car is supposed to look like. We can kind of walk all the way around it, see sheet metal. I am super excited with how far it's come, but yeah, there's still a ton of work to do, like I said. So what we're gonna do first is take the pattern that we used on this sail panel. On this side, there's the pattern. I'm gonna cut another piece of sheet metal here. What I am noticing about this shape is that it seems as though, it might be hard to see in the camera, but we're a little flat in this area. There should be a little bit more curve happening on this part of the roof. There's like an extra bit of curve here, and then it flattens out. But right now we have just kind of this flowing shape, so it doesn't really transition, you know, or transfer that extra bit of crown into this. It's kind of flat in this area. So we'll have to address that in a bit. But for now, we are going to start making that panel. So same pattern as we used on this side. We're going to use it for this side. It should be the same. It should be close to the same anyway. Like all the cuts were kind of similar. So we'll just kind of lay it over there, make sure that there's a similar amount of material, you know? Anyway, I already looked at it. It is the right size. So I'm gonna transfer that to a piece of sheet metal. I'm using 18 gauge cold rolled sheet metal. I know people are asking. I forget to mention it sometimes. 18 gauge cold rolled sheet metal is a bit tough to use, and it is what I can get. I don't really want to use 20 gauge because that's actually a tiny bit thinner than the original metal, but 18 gauge cold rolled is thicker and harder to manipulate than what the steel would have been used originally. So especially if you're going to be doing this stuff at home or you don't have a power hammer, give yourself a leg up if possible, if you're in a town where you can get it, and get the 19 gauge stamping steel. It's already a little bit softer than cold rolled, and it's a little bit thinner than the 18 gauge. It is much easier to manipulate, so I've heard, because I have not had the pleasure of using it, but people I trust and people I follow, they talk about that material as like the bee's knees. So if you can get it, get it. If not, struggle with me, and let's make this panel. Okay, so I just kind of mark out where that top of the highlight is, because we've learned from that first side that we're gonna want a little bit more crown in that spot. So this is kind of the area that we need to be a little bit more radiused. And our skeleton shows that, so it should show on our template. And what that's doing is that's making some of our shrinks a little bit deeper. And that's the difference between the way I'm laying out this side versus that side after, you know, kind of touch and go, figuring it out on the driver's side. So I'm gonna be doing a little bit deeper shrinks and hopefully coming up with the same shape or a little better. Okay, so we need a lot more shrinking rate in this area, because that's right when it starts to go from the flatter roof to the back window. So I'm gonna shrink a bunch more right here, and then we're gonna do a pass to smooth it out. Go check where we're at. But yeah, lots more shrinking and lots more shaping, but because we did the first side, I feel like I'm already off to a better start, knowing that we've got to focus more on developing the light line in the middle of this panel. So the other thing I'm gonna do is just block out the center of this, the light line, I guess. I'm just gonna use the Mother Tucker hammer rather than just stretch it all with the radius dies and the planishing hammer, or sorry, the power hammer. It's a quick way to add surface area and crown through our light line. More hits towards the center. As with everything in metal shaping, when you're developing a shape through stretch, you want to have more stretch in the center of that crown, just like you have more shrink on the outside if you're shrinking. Okay, we're gonna start with that. I'm sure it'll need more. But now I'm just going to change the form to flatten it all out. We want the flattest possible die when we are smoothing something. So I've got the 24 for the power hammer, so we're gonna use that, and it'll smooth out the most highs and lows all at once. Okay, you just saw me adjust the hammer a little bit. What I did there was I turned up my stroke, I shortened the stroke and I turned up the motor so it's gonna hit faster, but a little bit lighter so that we can smooth this out without throwing everything out of whack and beating it up too much. Okay, let's go have a look, see where we're at. So some of this is just form, like we gotta put some bends in here. Gotta make it back to the shape that we wanted it to be in. So we're not doing too bad, but we definitely, you see where this is all popping? You try and push it onto the shape and it's telling you what it wants. It's telling me that I need to shrink a bunch right here, right? This side doesn't want to fully come over either, so I probably need to shrink a little bit more in here, but definitely a bunch in this area to bring that down. Our light line looks like it actually goes this way a bit. It tapers out. Now that I'm looking at the car again, it tapers out a bit, which is all right. So we just got to go kind of deep right here, bring that down, and some more in this area to bring that together where the top of this door starts to curve. So those are the next two spots I'm going to hit, is right here, do a bunch, right here, do a bunch. And we'll repeat that process. So we're gonna put the shrinking dies in, we're gonna hit that, and then we'll put those smoothing dies in, the 24 lower radius flat upper, and we'll smooth it out again, and we'll come check it. Okay, we're getting there. A little more hammering. This is probably gonna be more shrinking, more rounds of all that, but we're getting her smoothed out. Notice this area looks a little flat, so I'm just gonna hammer here a little more, and then we'll go check it, see where we're at. I suspect some more shrinking in this area, because I know that's where I struggled on the last one, but we'll see. I always want to keep this thing balanced as much as possible. Like you saw it sort of skip around there. Basically, if it kind of goes off kilter, it'll get that, like, you know, one side will hit down, it'll pop the other side up, and then you're just denting your panel. You don't want to do that. Go have a look before we go too far, like I always do. actually looking pretty good. We gotta put a little more form in here. It's kind of flat right here, which actually needs to be formed a little more. Also would need a little more stretch in that spot. I'm gonna hammer this out a bit, and then if we need to bend it more, we'll have to put it in the English wheel a little bit with the rubber band, I think. But we'll start with hammering. Still looks flat in there, but let's go have a look. Yeah, I think we need a little bit of shrinking here, how it's kind of popped up. A little bit of shrinking right along here. That's coming up next. It's looking pretty good. I'm just gonna smooth it out a bit and we'll cleco it on. I'm feeling like right here, we need to bring that out a bit actually. That's what's kind of holding up our shape. We're flat right in this spot. So we can do that two ways. We can either shrink around it or we can hammer this area to bring that out. I think I'm gonna hammer this area to bring it out. Since the panel's already so close, I'm gonna just stretch this area a little bit and it should fit even a little bit better. We're so close. Looks like it's gonna need the same thing happening right about here. A little bit more stretch. Perhaps a bit of shrink right here. But definitely a little more stretch right there, I think. Okay, well, of course, it's never that easy. The panel is fitting pretty good, but we still are up here. We need some more shrinking. Okay, well, that panel is looking pretty good. Check out our light line. We have one clamp on it and she's flowing. She's flowing. So there's a little bit of, well, there's all kinds of fine tuning that's got to happen now, but for the most part, that panel is ready to be clecoed on. Yeah, I think it looks pretty dang good. This is a little popped up right here. I think it just needs to be held down. That's a little bit of form. Like, I don't want to shape that anymore, I don't think. At least not until we get that back window reshaped, because right now the back window dives down. We need to make sure that comes up, and then we can kind of work on that a little bit. But I mean, for the most part, pretty stoked with how that all fits. So, I mean, kind of milestone-y, I guess, just like having it all filled in, being able to check it out. She's looking good. I'm gonna go ahead and cleco it up, and then we're gonna start kind of one at a time, taking the panels off again and starting to really kind of fit them so that they can be tacked in place. I will warn you though, I don't think I'm gonna like start welding these right away. I'm gonna take them as far as this video is, like get them fitting pretty good. But next, I'm going to work on the seat a little bit, because I got an actual Zephyr coupe seat that is in a little bit of disrepair. And I would like to get that to the upholsterers in the off chance that this car gets kind of running driving and just kind of mocked up, that we could at least take it for a little bit of a toot sooner than later. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and do that, get the Clecos on it so it holds itself on. We can take it on and off and keep refining it, and then we'll start getting after it panel by panel. All right, we are Clecoed on. We got some metal on here. Pretty happy about that. It is far from perfect, and like I've said before, this is my first time doing big panels like this, and my first time doing like major metal shaping. You know, with the power hammer that I just got, it's far from perfect. Like, it looks better in the camera, I promise. So what we got to do is we've got to refine all this. One of the pieces I would really like to nail down first, like these ones are pretty good. They're pretty good. They're nice and tight. They didn't get anything but a bit of radial stretch. So there's not a ton to refine there. I would say the reverse curve here might need a little bit of refinement, but there's not a whole lot. This hand hammered catwalk corner, that I know needs a lot of refinement. I'll look at the screen here. You see the light line, how it's like it's all over the place and gobbledygook up here. We're gonna have to refine that. I overdeveloped it and had to shrink it down with the shrinker because I got frustrated and just kind of like get it back. So in order for us to really use this panel, I've got a lot of refining to do. The other thing that's happening is that for sure this reverse curve, you see that? It's too sharp right there. It should flow a little more, right? So the other side, you can sort of see that, like, although this has like a bit of a corner here, for the most part, it slowly comes up, you know? That's what I want, is I want that gradual, flowy curve. And this one, now you can see it like, it's kind of like, it's like a, so in order for that to come up, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull this panel off and I'm gonna stretch here. Like, there's more stretch at the edge to make a reverse curve than in here. So what's happened is that this has stretched too much and not enough here. So what I can do is I can pull the panel off and I can stretch this area to bring that up, which is what I did on the other side. I just blocked it out. I flipped the panel upside down on a sandbag and I hammered it to add surface area or stretch. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna pull this panel off and we'll get this sharpness out of that light line. Luckily this is underlapped under here right now. There's a tack there that I've got to break, but that is the next bit of refinement that I'm gonna do. And then I'm also gonna play with what's going on here. So I'm not sure if I'm just gonna go try and shrink a bunch more here, or maybe I'll like grab the shrinking disc and try to get a bit of that out. That might be an idea, really. But first, let's play with this a little bit. So I shortened up the stroke, and when you shorten up the stroke, you also have to sometimes raise up your lower tool post, if that makes sense. It just means that it's also not lifting as high, but it's also not dropping as low. So what we gotta do is add a shim in here, which, there they are. Since we're refining, we're probably not going to be using as much stroke because we're not doing any heavy shrinks anymore. Most of it will be just smoothing stuff out. So yeah, this should be good, I hope. For that reverse curve, right now I've got a 24 top and a 6 lower. And that's just because on a reverse curve, you don't actually have like a flat spot like the top of a crown. Because it's curving both ways, having a flat top sometimes isn't really okay because you're gonna be like hurting the shape because that top isn't flat or crowned like this. It's curved this way and this way. So I wish I had a few more dies, but we will work with what we got for now. And yeah, it'll be fine. Okay, so I think I got the flow happening in that line a little better now. It's kind of closer to the other side. It's not so abrupt in here. It's still not perfect, so I'm probably gonna work on a little bit more. There's a little hump here. This is like overdevelopment. I think I have to shrink that down a touch. But it is pretty flowy. It's looking okay. There's a lot more going on here though. Like the panel sits pretty good, but it I really overdeveloped this, right? So that's why all these shrinks are in here. So I'm gonna have to probably shrink some of the highs down and then stretch up some of the lows. I might even try the shrinking disc, like I said, and just kind of run it on there with a bit of pressure down and see if we can't help some of that. Might as well give it a shot. What do we got to lose? Nothing. I kind of wish I did that in real time for you guys. It's kind of cool to watch sometimes, so let's do this again. So the whole purpose of a shrinking disc is basically friction. So the friction of the disc heats it up, heats up the metal. And typically on a compound shape, not typically always, on a compound shape, the high spots are the spots that are too stretched or too high. Those are the ones that need shrinking. So with a nice flat disc like this, it's only gonna hit the high spots. So it's gonna shrink the places automatically that need to be shrunk. So yeah, I already did a big pass here, and it heats up the metal enough for it to steam, right, when you cool it. So when anything heats up, it expands, right? So it comes up even higher. And then that warm material, which is soft, it pushes itself into the cooler material around it. And then when you actually cool it, it will shrink to more shrunk than it was. I hope that makes sense. So anyway, here we go. See, some of these areas grew up, right? See the steam? As I quench it, it's going to contract back down. And it will be much better. I'm gonna hit this little spot here next. Yeah, this little spot's gonna need a little bit of stretching. But this area looks like it came down. Yeah, we don't have that bump in our light line anymore. This area definitely came down. What I'm doing is I'm looking at the bars of light in the ceiling, trying to see if we're making progress. We actually came down quite a bit in the center here. So we almost need to shrink a little on the edges now. See how it's pulled up? So I think we'll stretch a little here, and then we might have to shrink a little on the edge. All right, so I am back at this. It's actually been it's been a minute. It's been a few minutes. It's been probably like a week and a bit that I haven't worked on the old Zephyr. Had a bunch of stuff going on, and now I'm back. So, yeah, fine tuning these panels. I think the best way to portray this is to kind of just go step by step. I know it's kind of long and arduous, but how much learning can happen if we go step by step. All the learnings for myself and you guys. So, looking for a new Sharpie. Hello, Sharpie. We are going to read with light lines and gauges. So, with this panel, it did get better. It's way smoother after doing a little bit of shrinking disc up here. This feels really, really good. But this light line is not right. It kind of dips right in here, right? And we know that the shape is supposed to be kind of not dipping. So if I look here, I'm seeing mostly a 7 on the radius gauge on the trunk lid, right? Let's make sure that that's not different from the other side. Yeah, we got a 7. So for the most part, we want that on the catwalk here. And what do we have here? We're a little less than a 7. You see that light that we see in there? And then we've got, it tightens up here. When, I don't know if it really should. It should be pretty uniform in this area. So what I'm doing is I'm going to go, okay, that looks good. And then it starts to open up a little bit, kind of mostly in this spot here. I'd say from there to there. So here to here, we need a little bit of stretch. Got to bring that up. And then over here, that is definitely too sharp. Not by a lot, but by a little. So I did try to shrink a little bit here, but this needs a little bit of shrinking. Also, you see how this kind of pops up here? This needs to be flatter, so we need to shrink this a little bit. I'm also seeing a weird light line here that is kind of like, it's kind of like a bit of a hump here. So I think that shrinking this will hopefully allow that to come down a bit, but if not, then we might have a little bit of work to do there. So those are the spots I'm going to attack. Little, aim small, miss small, Mr. Mike Wagner. So we'll hit these two and that, and then we will come back and check the same way that we just checked. So I'll hit the shrinking disc, and then to stretch that little area, I might just use the English wheel and just go at it a little bit. Maybe even the power hammer. It's got a 24 in it right now. I'd need a 6 to bust that up. Maybe I'll swap it over to a 6 because I'll probably use it on the other side too. And we'll go from there. That works so good. It amazes me every time. That really brought it down. Okay, so if you haven't used one or heard of one, what a shrinking disc does is by friction, it heats up the material. And because it's flat, it's going to be kind of pushing down on the high spots while it's getting heated up. And so that material's trying to grow, and it can't. It gets softer and pushes itself into the colder material around it. And then when you cool it, it all just even gets sucked down even more. So yeah, we went from, you know, a 6 to like a 7, like really fast. That worked amazing. Love that, love that. Okay, so yeah, that light line looks great. Looks great. Still a little bit tall here. So I'm gonna probably move over. This probably allowed that to come up a little bit. Yeah, we're looking pretty good now. Let me get a little shallow there. Okay, I'm gonna do some shrinking up here to take care of that spot next. Okay, you see the way that fits now? Shrinking up here and in this area, brought that down. It flattened this out because that's what it needed, right? So we're touching a bit hard right here, which means that this could be stretched up a little bit. Yeah, it feels that way also. So we're gonna call that a stretch spot. And we have to stretch here as well. So perhaps I'll just do it on the wheel. I can stretch that also. What do we got here? This is a 4, too sharp. We're gonna go to something far shallower. What do we got here? This is an 8. Gotta hold this upside down, so I'm just transferring the marks. That's the stretch. So I'm just walking in and out of here. There's going to be a little bit more stretching happening on the way out, closer to the outside edge. Oh, moving around. Lock the wheel. I feel like this needs a little bit more form. Like this needs to be bent a little bit more. Oh yeah, we definitely sharpened that up, but I think that we've got to rubber band this because this automatically just got to be more than a 7. We're still looking at 7 here. We got a little sharper in that area, a lot sharper actually. Kind of surprised at how much that grew, but I think it's because the bottom edge needs to be, oh yeah, we're out of form a little bit. Yeah, we gotta pull that out. That's starting to look perfect. Perhaps right there. It's a little bit more. We've got a little bit of a wavy bottom edge, so I think maybe a little bit of wheeling close to the bottom edge there. Okay, it's been a minute since I've worked on this. We just had a wicked weekend doing a chop on a 1952 Chevy. Thank you to the guys that came out to this class. And newsflash, at the end of this video, I'm gonna let you know about the next chop class, and this will be the last one that we have at Make It Kustom this year. We're chopping a 1950 Mercury, or sorry, not Mercury, Meteor. Well, technically it's a Ford shoebox, but we have all the Meteor stuff for it. So I'm gonna show you that car at the end of this video. But where I'm at right now, from what I remember, is I'm still trying to fit this panel. We did a bunch of shrinking on here and smoothed it out quite a bit. It's difficult to see what the panel looks like because of the marks that are on it now. They are not like ground in or anything. They're just, they're still shiny, right? But what I'm about to do now, because see how this is lifted and we've lifted up here, and if I pop that cleco, it's up. We've shrunk it a little bit farther than it needs to go. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hop back on the power hammer and I'm just gonna smooth it out in the areas that it needs it. Because if we follow the light line a little bit, we can actually see, actually I'm gonna come this way so a different bar of light will come in here. We've got a few low spots that we're just gonna pop up with the power hammer and try and get this panel to curve a little bit more this way. Because what's actually happened is because we've shrunk it so much to take the little wobblies out of it, we need to get a little bit more of that curve back in, and then that panel will be good. And then I think that I'm pretty much gonna call the video because this fitting is gonna take a lot more time than I originally anticipated. So we're not gonna fit every single panel in this video, but we'll smooth out that one and get that one looking good. So then in the next video, we will fit all the panels, like continue to smooth them and tack them in. I'm really excited about that because, you know, once the welds start happening, we're getting real close. All right, so as you can see there, I was basically just like picking up low spots. It works really, really well, as you can see, that where, I don't know if you could actually see the light lines that I was looking at, but basically I'll look at the bars of light reflecting off of the panel. I'll tip it and see where that light dips. And where that light dips is a low spot. And so rather than just go kind of wild on the whole panel, I was picking up spots that I had circled where, you know, this was a low spot, and it didn't take much. It took just like a little bit of hammering, a little bit of hammering, and a little bit of hammering. And basically, it's looking pretty good. The other thing that happened by adding a little bit of stretch into this area where there's more radius than the rest of it, if you remember when we did the skeleton, that spot, although it's hard to see, has a little bit more rise in it than the flatter areas of that catwalk. So I did stretch a little bit more in this area, and then these edges fell back down because it was able to grow a little bit and tighten up the edges here. So I've got only a couple of clicos in it, and it is sitting on there really good. So I'm gonna say I'm pretty happy with that panel. It's certainly not perfect. Like, I know that there's like a couple of coach builders that watch this channel, and I appreciate every little bit of nuggets that you guys put into the comments about, you know, when I'm struggling. You know, big shout out to Peter Tomasini. Check out his channel. He is a wealth of knowledge. He was watching me on the English wheel one time and actually like linked a specific spot in one of his videos to explain what I was doing wrong, and I appreciate that so much. You know, like I said, these are this is the first time I've done large panels on a power hammer or metal shaping period. Like, you know, the first time I did one of those low crowns on the English wheel, it took me 5 tries, right? And then the next one I did it in 1 try. But I'm learning with you guys, so I just want to make sure that everybody knows that I'm not trying to, you know, put myself out there as you know, like the guy that knows everything, because I'm trying to, you know, learn as I go. And that's the only way to do it in this you know, hobby, in this passion, in this industry, is the more work you do, the more stuff you know, and you just got to be like this empty cup that's ready to be filled, because you never know when somebody knows more and has more experience than you, and you should be, you know, listening up. 2 ears, 1 mouth, right? So anyway, that panel I'm happy with. It is pretty close. Another thing that I've learned a little bit is that some of this fitting can happen as we're tacking and as we're putting it in there. Like, there's gonna be a lot of planishing. The welds are gonna warp it a little bit. Once everything's held on all the edges, like, I'll be able to smooth some things out, but ideally I will tune all these panels up to as close as I can get them, which is always 100% good enough, and then we'll start tacking them in. So that's what the next video is gonna be about. Is getting all these panels fit. Yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy that one. I know it'll be like kind of a lot of the same thing, but I'm gonna try and like isolate problem areas, and it'll be a really good like back and forth learning experience. I'll try not to make it too boring for you guys. Okay, let's talk about this chop. All right, this is a 1950, I believe, Meteor. Correct me if I'm wrong. Look these up on the internet. It is a 50 Ford, it's the same deal, but like we got the hood for it. This is a Canadian thing, okay? The Meteor. So it's got this really cool star badging that happens, and there's like these shooting stars on the side. That's the Ford V8 badge there. But this car is relatively solid. When I say that, I mean like that Chevy actually had been repaired, so there was some stuff in there, like, you know, body braces and things like that that were yet to be fixed. But some floor pans have been put in this car already, but for the most part it's pretty dry. Like, the stuff that isn't rusted is very solid, but not really that pitted. And the car's a pretty good car, to be honest. Like, I wasn't expecting it to be as good as it is. There's the Meteor badge again. I just think it's super cool. Lots of cool trim. The car comes with a really cool Meteor steering wheel. It comes with the shooting star badges for the side. It's got a visor. It's got a 54 Chevy grill that I actually have the extra teeth for, so that it becomes like a 9-tooth custom grill. We've got the Meteor grill here and the Ford grill there. You can basically run it however you want to. The reason I'm telling you about the car, I mean, obviously we're gonna chop it and it's gonna become insanely cool after that. But we're gonna do the same thing as what we did with the Chevy. If somebody wants to own it, you can own it with the chop as far as we take it during the class. So you'll have to finish it, but we'll get it pretty far. So this side has been worked on. Some replacement floor pans have been made for it. This is just like, you know, some surface dusty rust. And anyway, the inner rockers, you can see in there, that's new metal. But yeah, super cool car. I've got a bunch of parts for it. I've got some like Frenched headlight stuff for it. And yeah, anyway, it's gonna be on the website. So if you go over to japhandskustoms.com and you're interested in doing this chop class, grab a spot. They're gonna go fast. We had a full class last time and a bunch of people that didn't get in. So come on out to Make It Kustom and chop a car with me. We go through it step by step. We're gonna do I don't know, like maybe like a 4 or 5 on this car, maybe a little bit more. But if you're the one that owns it, then you kind of have a say in how we chop it. And anyway, it's a total blast, ton of fun, super great weekend. We do like the Friday night is layout, and pretty much like, it's like a meet and greet thing so that everybody gets comfortable with everybody else in the class. You come over, play a little bit of music. We've got, you know, a pizza party thing going on, and then we lay out the car. So we talk about how we're gonna lay it out and why we lay it out the way we lay it out, so that the chop makes sense. And then, I mean, I wasn't planning on it, but this past weekend, we cut the roof off on the Friday night also. Then the Saturday, we come in bright and early, we start cutting it up and sectioning everything and taking out the material that needs to be taken out, and we get the roof back on it. And like, Saturday's a big day, and because everybody's so into it, and I have lots of tools here that everybody kind of takes a little spot on the car, like, we get far, right? We got the door jambs welded, we got the pillars welded, we got all the doors, like the door tops put in. And the goal by the end of Saturday is to have the car mostly back together so that the panels that need to be shaped from scratch, i.e. the sail panels, these 2 panels on each side, and this panel, we get to make those together on the Sunday. And then everybody gets a crack at making those panels. And it becomes like a little bit of a metal shaping class on the Sunday. So yeah, it's a ton of fun. We usually go out for dinner on the Saturday night to just like a local pub and hang out a little bit. And we might even take a couple of the cars here for drives. But hope to see you there. And yeah, the other thing that we're doing is these whack and tack weekends. I'm starting to set them up. I don't have a whole lot of available space because a couple of people have already sort of jumped on it. But what I would like to do is, I've been asked a bunch of times in the past, so I'm gonna do this. I feel like it'd be a lot of fun, and it'd be a great way for a group of people to come together to do one of these like chop classes basically on their car. And it doesn't have to be a class, but it helps to pay for having it done and the expenses of flying out. So what I will do is I will come out to your shop or to your car club shop or to your car show or whatever, and I'll chop a car or section a car or do some kind of custom modification all weekend. Usually it's a chop. So you got a car that you want chopped and you want it chopped, you know, I say chopped right, as in like, I'll make sure that it gets lined up correctly and we don't have too many hiccups. And basically, yeah, I'll come whack and tack your car all weekend and hang out with just you, or you and all your buddies, or you and your car club, or whatever. And it'll just be a super fun, good time. So if you're far away, I'll fly out. If you're close, I'll drive out. And I think it's just a great way to just kind of keep this community going and to keep this hot rod thing alive. So japhandskustoms.com, if you want to get in on something like that, you can contact me there, and look forward to hear from you. So have a great day, everybody. Have a great weekend, and thank you so much for the support. Really appreciate it. This is a dream job, and it's because of you guys here. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do, and catch you on the next video. See you later.